Well, hello and welcome back to the Daily Brew, the devotional, where every day we drink a new brew of coffee and we see what God is brewing for us in the Bible. Yes, it's cheesy, but it's true. And you join me here in Auckland, New Zealand, in my kitchen for another day of the Daily Brew. 365 days of the year. Today is day 186. And if you are joining us for the first time, make sure you head back to day one and start from the start. And stay with the program. Even if you miss a day, don't skip ahead. Keep with the day after day after day. Why? Because the Bible builds on itself every single day. It's a grand narrative, and we wanted to pull apart what God is saying to us today. A massive welcome to everybody on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Of course, on all of our other platforms as well that I don't even know the names of. Great to see you here today. Let's have a look at what scriptures we're going to be reading. They're in the descriptions on every platform as always. Psalm chapter 80, verse 8 to 19. Acts chapter 24, verse 1 to 27. And 2 Kings chapter 10, verse 1 to chapter 11, verse 21. Those are the scriptures that we are going to be reading today. But before we go any further, let's talk about the brew that we have. And yesterday I had this, the Supremo from Atomic Roasters, and this is the one with the marshmallow, cocoa nib, and clove. Now, I gave it a 6.4 yesterday, and I stand by that rating. I think that was a fair rating. It could have been me. Absolutely, it could have been me. But today we're going to have this as a Chemex, which obviously is the lightest brewing method that I have. The Chemex filters out all of the heavy stuff and gives you quite a pure flavor at the end. So let's give this a try today and see what this tastes like. It's very hot. I have just brewed this. I've made the same mistake as I have time and time and time again. You'd think I'd learn, make it, then give it a minute, let it cool down. No, I'd like to burn my mouth with scalding coffee bean juice. Let's give this a try today. The Supremo by Atomic Roasters. That was a bad mistake there. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let's have some of this beautiful, lovely bean juice. Sounds disgusting. Very hot. Yeah, interesting. It's got the same... Ooh. Okay. There's the marshmallow. Jeepers, this is good. I was going to say it's got the exact same flavor profile as the espresso when you first put it in your mouth. And then it washes you with this lovely sweet marshmallowy vibe. It's odd to explain because it does feel textured like a marshmallow. This is wild. This is an unbelievable cup of coffee. I think I'm going to give this an 8.8 because I quite like that. I could see myself drinking that every day as a Chemex because that's quite lovely. I reckon when it cools down too, it'll give it an even better flavor profile. But as it is, 8.8, really enjoy it. 8.8, tell your mate. So there you go. If I was a bingo caller, I'd be good. That is it for the brews for today. Let's get into the Bible, the reason that we are here. How good is vitamin D? I don't know if you can tell behind me, but here in Auckland, it is not a good day. In fact, since I landed back from Australia a few days ago, basically it's rained every single day. I like the idea of vitamin D. I like the idea of the sunshine. I love a cold day, okay? I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm not trying to say I love summer. I don't like the heat, but I like the sun. Figure that one out. It's a great feeling when we get our body into the sun, when we step into the shining light of the glorious ball of gas in the cosmos. It is a lovely, lovely feeling. But you know what's even better? When we step into the shining light of God's glory. That's even better. That's an even better feeling. That's where we find restoration and our salvation. And clearly, when the psalm was written, the people of Israel were facing some pretty dark days. We see the imagery of the vine being used, that God cares for the people of Israel like a vine. We see the imagery being used of how people are perishing in verse 12 and 13. Yet, like a vine or a plant in the sun, they come alive. We may need to have some walls fall in our lives too. Like the people of Israel, they experienced the walls falling away. But when the walls fall away, there's nothing that stands in the way of that light coming and hitting our lives. Friend, I want to encourage you, when the walls come down, the walls that you've put up in your life, when you let them come down, we get a burst of sunshine, flood our lives, and we can experience the restoration of Jesus Christ as well. Paul is a great example of Christians being reflections of God's light in the world around us. Why do we talk about the dark so much? Why are we surprised that it's dark around us? Life is hard. Life is tough. Life is dark at times. It is because of sin. We live in a fallen world. But that shouldn't make us flat or depressed or heavy. It should stir faith within every Christian that we could be the reflection of life, hope, joy, and love, of purpose and destiny that is found in Jesus. Paul himself faced many dark moments, but it never stopped him from being the light of the gospel on the earth. In our passage today in Acts, we see that Paul is making his defense from verse 10 onwards. He deals with the accusations and addressing what is true and what is false about what's been brought to him. He establishes facts about the situations that he faced, and he presents them before the court. He uses his defense, though, as an opportunity to outline his beliefs. Read it from verse 14 to 18. It's an unbelievable 4 scriptures that shows us his approach of laying out his position and his faith. He was up against a judge named Felix. Now, Felix, he wasn't evil, he was just weak. He was driven by politics. He was politically driven and was clearly lacking in courage. He didn't do what was right, he went for what was easy and convenient. He chose to, instead of just release Paul, instead of doing that, he puts Paul back into prison. And what's crazy is that he put Paul back into prison. Felix put Paul back into prison for 2 more years waiting for a bribe. It's crazy. Here's my encouragement that I get from the scripture. You might feel like you've been put on pause. You might feel as though you don't have the release that you've been looking for from a leader above you. You might feel the weight of destiny burning alive inside you, but at the same time, face the reality of restriction. Sometimes you can face this because of someone else's insecurity and poor leadership. But don't quit. Don't throw in the towel. Paul doesn't get angry, depressed, or throw in the towel. I'm sure maybe that was a temptation for him. He was a man just like us. But instead, he focuses on God. And I love this. He uses every opportunity in that restriction to continue to speak about Jesus. If that doesn't challenge you, it should. Finally today, we're going to dip our toes in the scriptures in some of the darkest days of Israel's history. Just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, welcome to 2 Kings 10 and 11. Basically the rest of 2 Kings, to be fair. Everywhere you look, you see a series of horrific events taking place. Jehu seems to be doing okay, mainly because the bar was set so low by King Ahab. One of the great things King Jehu did was destroying Baal worship in Israel. One of the dumb things he did, though, was not turn away from the worship of the golden calf that King Jeroboam started many verses and chapters before. This ultimate decision that he made here would ultimately decide his heart, and it would see that his heart divided between God's way and his way, the way of the world and the way of the word. And ultimately, it wouldn't end up great for Jehu. Jump over to Judah, and it's not much better. We see that there are massacre attempts left, right, and center. It's chaos. People are on the run. It's wild. Then we see a commissioning of a very young king. King Joash, at 7 years old, became king and brought hope of the future. One of the things I love about kids ministry over the years is seeing the unlocking of spiritual gifts and leadership within children. I think I talked about this quite recently, but while I was in Singapore, I received a prophetic word that, honestly, it was so accurate, it affirmed the work that God had been doing in my life literally for a few years now. In the darkest of times, in the darkest of places, what encourages me about the scripture is that God raised up a child to bring hope, to be the light in the darkness. I want to encourage you, don't write off the children for the future hope in the world that we live in now. I reckon God is doing something pretty special in the next generation, and I'm here for it all day, every day. Let's 3, 2, 1. Verse of the day. Verse of the day today, 2 Kings 11:2 says, "But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Jehoram and sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from among the royal princes who were about to be murdered. She put him and his nurse in a bedroom to hide him from Atalia, so he was not killed." First thing here, we've got to sort out these names. These names in the Bible are wild, people. Okay, where's just Ben and John? Where are they in the Bible? Come on, man, we need some more normal names. Secondly, what a woman. She took the initiative to save Joash from the massacre. She couldn't save all of them, but she did her best. This is the posture that we need from every person on the earth. How can I protect and serve this next generation? Listen, you might not be able to save everyone, but you can serve someone. Ask the Lord how you could be involved in serving some young people today. Get in the fight. Get protecting and let's raise up a new generation in the truth and love of Jesus Christ. That is it for the Daily Brew today, day 186 done and dusted. Thank you so much for joining me, no matter where you are across the world, as we continue to get into the Bible together and continue day after day seeking God and seeing what He has to say for us. As always, I'm praying for you that God is revealing more of Himself to you through these scriptures and that you are enjoying this devotional journey. That is it though for today. Tomorrow we're going to be in Australia, back in the Gold Coast, while in Noosa actually, so Sunshine Coast. Looking forward to being there with a few of my friends at a pastors conference. We'll do the Daily Brew as always every day. Why? Because the Bible never sleeps and neither does the Lord. So let's get into the Word together. Keep digging, keep going, keep pushing in, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another day of the Daily Brew. If it's the start of your day, have a great rest of your day. Unless it's sleep time, good night, sleep tight. Subscribe, like, follow, rate, click all the buttons you possibly can, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another day of the Daily Brew.